Hello, everyone. We are so glad to have you here to join our public examination today, the 5th seminar of this semester. We are so glad to have the well-known artist and architect, Mr. Raymond FUNG, here today with us. The reason why we have Raymond here with us, there is 2 reasons. First of all, he has organized a very significant seminar in Hong Kong recently, which is a memorable event to recognize his achievement in the past 7 decades. And many of us has been invited to participate. Of course, in this seminar, he's going to introduce many of his masterpieces. And the other reason why I invited him today is because our university is emphasizing the combination between art and architecture, which is rarely happens in the university in Hong Kong. Of course, there used to be some university talking about art and architecture, but it rarely talks about the combination of them. And the savannah in Hong Kong, the very famous one, the only one actually has already gone. That's why it is a milestone here with us, and a milestone here which we can talk about the combination of art and architecture. Some students may have questions that he or she may only want to focus on art or architecture. But most of the time, we has been explaining to our students that the importance of the existence of art and architecture. Actually, creativity has been converged with art and architecture. No matter what, or no matter either one of them, they are directing to the same thing, which is the creativity of one. And that is the main requirement for one to do creations. So Raymond actually is a practitioner in terms of art, both art and architecture. And he is the only one I have been knowing who is very professional in both aspects. He is really the only one professional. That's why we invited him to join us today to share his experience of his working in between art and architecture. which entitled as today's topic are retrospective in between art and architecture. I believe every one of us would like to have more insight from his experience. Again, we are so glad to have him here with us today. We hope that everyone, either you are with us in the room or the one online, we hope that we could get some insight from him.
Hello， 聽到㗎啦，原來，哦，收到啦，係嘛？我要先道歉先，我今日把聲咧係非常嘅。
Oh, first thing, I would like to apologize for my voice today. It's because I'm a bit not feeling well. But let's go back to our topic today. I do know Desmond for a long time. Usually, in my past sharing, I have no preparation about that, but I do really appreciate that him has asked me about today's topic, which is about the combination of art and architecture. I do really appreciate that the Hansen University has organized this program, which emphasizing art and architecture should be things that all in one. Of course, this is also what I have been experiencing in my life. In my past 7 decades of life, I could recognize that there is a chance in Hong Kong for me to sharing as an artist. I want to share with you guys a story that around 30 years ago. Actually, I have been an artist for almost 20-something. Many of you may think that being an artist maybe is an easy task, but the fact is not. I have to seek for a balance point during my past experience. As all you may know, the Art Basel is very successful in Hong Kong. Of course, this is just part of the art industry. But for us, or many of us, not everyone have a chance to be an official artist after their study of art. My milestone has been developing for 10 to 20 years. Sometimes when I have exhibition, when I would like to invite my friends to come to appreciate my work or to have a sharing of my experience, not many of my friends could join. That's why based on such kinds of experience, what I have learned that I try not to make my exhibition well known, which actually reflecting that being an artist in Hong Kong may not be an occupation that can make many monies. And that has made me reflecting that to have a change. But of course, now it's different from 20 years ago. What happenings 20 years ago? Of course, I do publish many of the articles talking about many masterpieces around us. And it helps to build the foundation of what I have been today. Till now, what I've been working on makes me always question myself and also reflecting my role in Hong Kong, which I think it is very important not even for Hong Kong but also for Asia. I have been many places and put myself into the art industry. What made me surprised that people from the other side actually really enthused about the development of art in Hong Kong, which actually the art system has been changing a lot. People may more eager to participate in art activity. They are willing even to line up for one ticket for the international art event like Art Basel in Hong Kong. Of course, not many of them are really appreciating the art or know how to appreciate the artwork. Some of them may just because around 10%, maybe they know and they understand art, but some of them may just trying to be one of the line B of the phenomenon. Of course, the society is very diversified, and I believe here all of you may help to push the future development of art. Of course, this is just my fault, but I would like to take this as a beginning of my today's sharing.
嗱，首先咧，大家咧輕鬆啲啊。雖然我把聲好磁性啫，但係千祈唔好擔心啊！我就唔係即係嗰啲。
Okay, everyone, let's relax ourselves. Although today is my voice a little bit down, but I want to make ourselves relax. And don't think that I am an old school artist. But actually, I do want to make my sharing today as interesting as it could be to share with you all my thought about the combination of art and architecture. So, as just Desmond said, I have organized a memorable exhibition to take a throwback of my past decades. I think I could use a little bit depressed to describe this exhibition. Why I'm talking about this is because the process has been around 30 years, and during the time, many of my students, my colleagues, my friends in the industry is leaving the circle. Some come in while the others may go out. The reason why I would like to organize this event is not one to make a kind of show off. Instead, I want to make it a memorable thing to let the youngsters know more about the industry. So please don't think that I'm trying to make a show off of something, but I just want to use my past 70 years to show that dreams can really come true. At the same time, to encourage someone or a lot of you to chase your dream. So I hope that I could use this exhibition to encourage the youngsters. I organized this exhibition in the Kowloon West districts, which I have been collaborate with the organization. I took the place because I want to spread out the message that Kowloon West District is not only a place for tourists, but also a place that can share the message of the art of Hong Kong. At the very beginning, when I started organizing the event, I still remember the feedback from the outside. Actually, it's very cold. People may place a none of my business attitude about it. But till now, things changed and people are more eager to participate in the event. I'm not joking. I've been joined in many events in the past. And the situation changed, which even a taxi driver in the past, they don't even know what an art museum is. Instead, you have to tell them an imagery of the museum appearance, like a pineapple bun, which I think is a loss for us. And I couldn't imagine why people are so cold in participating in art event, even though the location is already in the urban side 尖沙咀. So for this time, I decided to have my exhibition in Kowloon West District because I think it's a very local place for the Hong Kong local to start their art journey again.
唔知有間 pavilion 唔緊要嗱，佢 pavilion 咧其實就係整個西九裏邊係17個建築物嘅其中一個。
And
西九今天未起晒。
now we have chose M plus, which is a very popular location nowadays.
pavilion 就係咩 ？pavilion 就係一個當時嚟講咧，就係我哋覺得當大家等到咁疲累，係覺得唔關我哋事。
There is a pavilion in this event. What I mean of pavilion is that people may not have that perseverance for waiting the exhibition. But now, as long as we has developed our city, people do make reflections of bringing up a new project that is targeting to the youngsters in Hong Kong. It doesn't have to be a significant project, but a small project that worth around 300 to 400,000 Hong Kong dollars. That is for the youngsters. And we want to have more chance to the society as well. So at that period of time, it has been last for more than weeks. When the results come, we are very, very nervous. What if the winner is not a local? But at the same time, we do have a concern that we cannot make the winners ourselves, as long as we are an international organization. But we do really hope that we can have a Hong Kong winner. After M plus is finalized, this small architecture was placed another role for doing its duty, which is the things that I want to talk about today. What do you think about the combination of art and architecture? For me, there is also another meaning, which I would like to put the youngsters and the elderly together. Look at these pics. Actually, the people inside is my teammates. I used ones to make my teammates to be part of my artworks by sharing their secrets. But of course, it's not about their privacy. I do really appreciate the effort from my teammates. I put my team at the most important position, which is the entrance side. As you could see that they have different roles. Some of them is taking a camera, sitting there. Some of them is doing yoga. I hope all of you could understand that the teammates is very, very important, not because they make contributions to the project, just because and simply because they are part of the team. So, in this exhibition, which is organized imperial to the Hong Kong exhibition referring back to the history of Hong Kong, which the organization, the exhibition, I have been put in my mind that I think that it should be organized in our place. The most important thing is I put my team into the event in Hong Kong. I used to organize ones with the Canton province. As all you may know that there are many constraints there. So for this round in Hong Kong, I told my teammates that I would like to make them as part of the exhibition. Of course, their very first reaction is reject and a little bit shy, but they are willing to be part of the event finally. Of course, for the exhibition in Canton Province, the market share is huge, but the flexibility is being limited. And in terms of this, Hong Kong has more advantages. So for this round, it has opened the door for my teammates to put themselves into the project, to make them more engaged in it and also being respected. My exhibition entitled at 70, which in English 70, which is same as my age. Actually, my exhibition is not emphasizing plain artwork. It wants to emphasize that not only looking at the dimension of the artwork, but you have to pay attention to the dimension of your wellness. You could see that there is a fingerprint on the wall with 7
inner self 同埋 outer self 已經係
concrete plate on the wall. The reason we do have 7 concrete plates on the wall is that spreading the 7 messages. You could see that the messages is on the floor, talking about my thought, my reflection, my experience of my 7 decades in the past.
佢係我哋嘅張培嘅
嘛，係啊係啊，一定呢個好事係我記得佢同我咁講。咁所以大家知道嘛 ，Stanley Wong 我梗係知道佢最勁乜嘢啦。咁佢同我拍咗套 videos。咁個 video 同樣咧又係有呢啲咁樣。
I have worked with my friends Stanley Wong, and we do take a video talking about these 7 messages, which is in parallel to the 7 concrete plate on wall. So what does these 7 messages talk about? Let's look at this picture, which is the upper floor of the previous artwork. When you enter the exhibition center, you may confuse about the fingerprint work on the wall. But when you stepped upstairs, you could see the concrete plate extending from indoor to outdoor. But you could also see that there is 7 is missing into the extending. Some of you may confuse that are you missing part of the artwork? Actually not. The missing concrete plate is exactly those I put on the wall downstairs. And they do have the imagery that which is the 7 decades in my past life. One more thing, you may see that this 70 concrete plate played in a rectangular shape. What does it mean?
但係更言之，乒乓波台裏邊彈嚟彈去，其實就係講緊 bouncing in between art and architecture 或者 ink and architecture.
Actually, you could imagine it as a ping pong table, which is my favorite sport activity. And you could imagine there is a ball bouncing in between. inside and out. And it is a metaphor of a retrospective in between art and architecture. There is another story in my exhibition. Take a look at these pictures. There are 400 pieces of concrete plate here, which I have entitled this masterpiece as A Dialogue with Wu Guanzhong. Of course, there is another artist here. Which emphasizing a modern artist has a conversation with the ancient artists. So for me, I picked Wu Guanzhong as my audience. And this is also the reason why I make this masterpiece. The dialogue with Wu Guanzhong. As all you may know, Wu Guanzhong is always emphasizing his memory within the Zhejiang province, which is a place that he is always talking about. As long as he is a wanderer, always memorable and emphasizing the flow in between the history within the province, it has inspired me what I could do to express the same feeling as him. So, for all of the concrete plate here, actually is what I picked from his places after 2018, when they have been dilapidated from his side. When I was thinking what I should do to make the inspiration existent in front of all the audience, here's is what comes to my mind. So you could see this masterpiece has a colorful transparency of light from outside to inside. And also in between the line of two concrete plates, which is I consider as an imagery of one's well-being. I try to leave blank for the background, which make it as transparent as it can to make everyone imagine actually this is the feeling of Wang Guangzhong towards Zhejiang province, and also our feelings towards Hong Kong as a local. Of course, this is not the only places I show these concrete plate, but it has been shown around many places. At the end, I didn't throw it away, but I keep it as part of my further exhibition in the future, which I think they can extend their duty in the future. So for this round of my exhibition 70, I organize everything by myself. I want to make the layers, the stages, more diversified towards the audience, to make it more iconic, and to emphasizing the combination between art and architecture. So you could see in this picture, on the left-hand side, there is part of text that is broken or separated into a small regular one by one. They are actually my masterpiece. The reason why I separate my artwork into different pieces is more because of my psychological factors. By comparing the bigger one in front of my separated pieces, people may more focus on the small point. On the other side, I have the other installation of my artwork, which I have separated them into 8 pieces. You may not know, sorry, let me take a look of the time. I hope to make my sharing within the time limitation. But I would like to share more about these masterpieces, even though you may not want to learn how to paint with me. From these 8 pieces of work, you could see the small dot like a fishbowl on your right side. This piece of art actually has been shown in the Venice, which is entitled as the Hong Kong Urban Sign. These small boards actually is an imagery of the tall buildings in Hong Kong, which is talking about us living like a small dot in a big city. As long as we are living is in a small place with high density, Although the places are close and convenient, but we are as cloud as a small dot, like just a fishbowl. And we are living under a high speed, which we're living fast, acting fast, and rush. As hurry as a dog, a small dot, crowding within a high-density city, which you don't even have the time to slow down. But on this small ball, actually, I have to put law of the station name on it. But it also has an imagery that we have lost our sight in this high-density city. As long as every day we are just living under a high speed. At the same time, high density between school, station. Maybe it's a good thing, as long as we live so close. But also, I am a little bit upset that we are so rushed, that have been missing our old history feelings. We used to date our friends exactly on the exact building, which we have already forgot the name nowadays. And so for the one next to it, there is 8 of the bow, which is appearing in Saikong and also Tanho stations, which is just a simple one. And we can shift to the next one that you can see there is the paper aeroplane showing on it, which I want to take it as a chance to thank our local friends who is working in the Hong Kong airport. Thank you for their effort for maintaining the service they do provide for Hong Kong. And nowadays, I have become an artist for the Hong Kong airport. I do make this masterpiece to put it at the Hong Kong airport to show my appreciation towards them for maintaining the international role for Hong Kong. But later on, we have COVID. And that's why I changed my work a bit. So for us, as an artist, no matter you are working on painting or sculptures, your focus actually is more focused on society or say community. You have to show your appreciation and transfer it into the feelings of the publics for them to feel your thought. So to the next one, there is a paper boat on it. Many of you may know that this has been shown inside Kong, so it has nothing to talk about with. But you can see the last one, which I want to talk more about the figures inside. The figures, we once want to talk about the homeless in Hong Kong, but my friends just want me to talk about things more about humanity. That's why I finally make this masterpiece out, which one of the figure is singing karaoke, and the other is having another activity, which is emphasizing the distance between people and vibe. So here comes to another masterpiece in the airport. Besides, the artwork about aeroplane, this tableware is another work I place in airport. And for these photos, it's talking about these 24 architectures. Here is one of them. It comes back to a time in 1980s, which is a clubhouse. I do really appreciate that the architect in Hong Kong appears earlier than Westerns. Of course, it couldn't be as significant as the Westerns, but still, it is an architect, right? And here comes to the second one in Discovery Bay. So for this one is the Parkview architecture. And this is the Yangming Villa. Here this resort is in Stanley Bay. Actually, I'm the very first architect being invited to China to have a visit for their architect. As long as the time for their opening reform, I have been invited to have a site visit in them. So this is the Qihua building. And here comes to the government building in Taiwan. And here for this is in Wan Chai. And also, Desmond actually is the chairperson of our artificial plan in Wan Chai. This is the very first project. And this is the City Hall, which I intentionally put it here as a memorable masterpiece. I do really like the river in between the photo, which I think it plays a memorable purpose to remembering the heroes in the past. That's why I would like to place it here to remembering this City Hall. And for this one, for the outline, showing a warm phenomenon. Actually, it used to be a very depressing design, which placing a plate in the middle side of the chair, avoiding people to lay down. It makes people feeling depressed. Why don't we just make it more vivid and lively? That's why we place our paper cut outline here. And this is the major renovation of a park in 1965 in Victoria Park. But I do really appreciate of this architect because, as you know, Victoria Park plays an important role in our life, and there are many activities happens there. And for this, it's an architecture which I designed in the Kowloon Park in Tsim Sha Tsui, which I know many of you stayed your partners there. But actually, I didn't have much confidence for this project at that moment because government actually is having a demonetization project there, which I have paid effort to stop them. And I know at that time I have scared about the workers. For me, it's a very grand places. As a youngsters, I know my action is a little bit fearless. But of course, till now, when I talk to Yuan Shang, those were the days. At that period of time, during our call, Yuan Shang just said, it's not their business, and they have no idea at all. And they asked me to call Liu Rongguang, so I called to Liu. To stop their project, saying that we try to keep the four keep the pestle there as an artwork, not to waste its value. So at first, we had just put it into a museum. Thanks to our effort to the project, we finally could place the pastel here as an icon. Fortunately, the chairperson at the moment is really nice and promised us immediately. Of course, media and the public has opposite voice to our decision, saying that placing an old pastel here is not respectable to the public, reflecting that the short insight of local. For me, the main purpose that I want to keep this pastel here is based on their original design, and this is the most valuable features of them. And later on, I know that what I have did has embarrassed the government. People may think government has robbed the fortune of the community. But later on, of course, we know we have made a good decision. And here comes to the other one. This is the library of our construction office. And you can see there is a barcode on the left bottom corner. I try to make it appear like a book, showing a message that showing the library. And for the other one is the paperboat park in Sai Kung. And now it comes to my painting here. But before that, let's show you my projects of the wetland park. Just right after Ocean Park and Disneyland, here comes to the wetland park in Hong Kong. Of course, it has been awarded for many prizes, but it has reflecting the message that the youngsters in Hong Kong would like to travel to Japan for the Orlando. Of course, there is a limitation for us to do Orlando in Hong Kong, but what about clear water concrete? If talking about in these aspects, this kind of projects happens in Hong Kong earlier than those in Japan. And circling back to the concrete project, we actually place a leading role in the international.
不過去到中文大學就正正式式係有呢個清水碩士嘅。
Of course, you may know Itaneman Zhonghong. People would love to see his masterpiece, but in Hong Kong, has been already the very first piece of concrete project. Some of my friends may ask me, do you think it's a special point for Hong Kong? And I said, why do you think it's special? My friend said, why not? It actually is a thing that representing Hong Kong. And I said, do you know it has always been an idea since I've graduated till now. I do have a chance to work on it. And you could see that from this project, it is a kind of minimalism inside your mind. And this is another architecture in Tsim Sha Tsui. Some of you may say, is it a headquarters of Starbucks? Of course not. That is one of my design in K11. But I do understand that why you may mention Starbucks, because it is just right near the harbor. At that time, the place is pretty expensive for us to consume. But the Starbucks makes the youngsters has participated much in the places, not even famous within my artist friends. So here comes to this artwork. I know it may be spreading a negative vibe, but actually I do think there is a positive meanings within these art pieces. Go back to the time 2002 when we are facing the disease SARS. Our president has got a gift from the mainland artist. But at that period of time, for Hong Kong, we don't have that kind of huge stone to make a sculpture. That's why we use this big wood to make them. It used to call Yin Ao instead of Xing Ao. So we placed the sculpture there representing the ancient product. Bamboo slips, and also writing an article on it. I do have to think about the making process. For pest control, but it may make the things more complicated. And some of my friends just said maybe we can just place it as more natural as it can, as what a wood should be, instead of placing Instead of placing the anti-corrosion on it, we would like to make it as nature as it is, as long as we can work on the maintenance work later on. Also, it is a kind of respect to the wood, to the nature. But of course, I didn't have a chance to place this thought on the media to the public, but I do this is what we have to stand on. If this is the right thing. And it comes to Victoria Park. If at that time Victoria Park is the most famous place, I make this temporary West Kowloon area as one of my architecture projects. For this project, do you know what makes it well known? Actually, is my budget cut skills. I think it is not a secret among my friends and the teammates work with me. I make around 80 temporary light stand on it instead of the real light stand. Of course, what I have did has actually break the original rules. I know, I always know. I have break the rules. Or maybe Desmond may know about that. What we did for art, people may think about is a kind of collusion between officials and businessmen. This is not what I want. That's why I make this to show the true meaning of art and architecture.
咁裏邊咧就放咗好多平價光管，咁啊我都屈咗好多人嘅，其實我都幾野蠻嘅，其實應該就如果唔係我咧就唔會發生㗎啦。我話嗌機電工程署，我話其實係呢啲全部都唔合格。
The EMS department to provide 8 million budget for me to make this light stand instead of the real electronic lights one. At the beginning, I was rejected by the EMS department. It's just because of it is different from what they have been working on it. I try to use my light stand artwork to make it into a dragon shape. To detective the true feeling that could representing the West Kowloon. Just right after I finalized my project, I received a call. The officials told me my artwork looks like the lamb, memorable the death in Chinese culture, which is unlucky. And they request me to pull it down. Of course, I don't want to. And they said, why don't you just plant trees in the area? And this is not I want to do as well. No, I just reject their request. I don't want to plant trees there. I just want to leave it blank. That's why I go to beg.
問鳳儀有份去啊，都有份去，咁捉咗幾十個 artist 去到畫到佢花呢花碌。嗱，我呢啲 artist 嚟㗎
I
artwork
go
啊。
to beg the leisure office. As you all know, being an artist, sometimes you are to put down your self-esteem.
musical 監粗嚟啦，呢啲梗係唔係 Phantom of the Opera， 不純粹有聲音有藝術品，唔好拆，搞掂。如是者呃咗好多年，咁啊呃咗10年之後先至起出嚟。咁嗱呢啲咁嘅故事咧，今天講出嚟就好似好荒誕啦。但係其實當時真係掙扎得好辛苦，因為其實
Of course, at that period of time, I am under stress. And always struggle between my dreams and the factual works. I do appreciate and so thankful that at that period of time, I received so many helps from the artists to make my things come true. Of course, you have to pay effort on it. But the points and the direction actually comes from your thought towards the community. And now here comes to another work. You could see that actually it looks like an ancient England architecture design in the park. And this is also my intention to make the park looks like the ancient one as well. Let's see if we have the time to share more the secret of my artwork from the officials. But let's go back to our topics. I once worry about my work. I was told to buy a car lot to learn the feeling of the old history. But till now, what made me surprised that this architecture is well known for the youngsters to take their wedding pics, just in case they don't have enough budget to travel to Paris for the real one. And this is also what makes the artists happy from their project. And here comes to a quick glimpse to other pics of my work. And you could see this is a house, another apartment of my project, the other buildings. So basically, you could see that most of my tasks is more focused on public constructions. The advantages in this project, actually, for me, you could consider is a comprehensive completion of my dreams. People may think that it may be boring if we just focus on the public housing architecture. But for me, it's more than that. And you could see that this is my drawing when I was 9, which has been published on the local newspaper in 1962. People may say that your future was already designed since you were small. I do agree. And this is another one that I drew when I was a kid, which is reflecting another struggle time of Hong Kong. As you may know, at that period of time, around 1980s, so in this pic, it includes HSBC, COB, the most popular time in Hong Kong, which used most of my perseverance to draw it down line by line. Of course, for the youngsters nowadays, they could not do the same thing as they don't have that perseverance, and I have been trained in US. During the period of time, my teammate Zhong Yongyun, as long as he knew I'm Chinese, he just gave me a calculator, but give us a scale to the Westerners, which actually have the meanings that only the Westerners knows what design is and knows how to make designs, but not the Chinese. But of course, I do have that perseverance. That's why I could create these kinds of lined painting. And here you could see this is another masterpiece of mine. And they are the Chinese ink painting. Sometimes it's about river, sometimes it's about the river Hebaili. And this comes to the time of 1985, the time when I involved in the art industry, and also the time I have my very first public exhibition, which started my journey in the art industry. I didn't only work as an artist, but also work as a mentor for monitoring the growth of myself and the others. And here is my other artwork, which is entitled as 宋彩华之. Of course, this is talking about environmental protection, but the series is more than that. It has been once shown in the exhibitions in mainland China and also France. At that period of time, there is a phenomenon of miscommunication between Chinese and the Westerners. No matter you are in France, in In the Louvre, you could see there are many Chinese artwork in there. That's why I put China in China as one of the description within this masterpiece, 宋才华诗. And I try to place it as a common point between the East and West. So this is part of the 宋才华诗 series. I do love to use turquoise, which colors shows the feelings of heavy. I do really love this color tone. The color of blue, dark green, navy, and the color language is really, really special. And for this one, it's entitled as 我六归来五二山. Do you feel that we are just a teeny part during the whole universe? And for this part, when I am showing this in London, I do have art inspection there. As long as this is a common practice among artists, there is 18 pieces of artwork here into this empty room. Showing a thick phenomenon there, very strong phenomenon for people. One of the important role for the architect is to manage the line, space, and vibe between the venue and the artwork. And at that period of time, I do remember when I showed this masterpiece is to talking about 18 different feelings. When you open the window to take a look of the site with the 18 mountains, sometimes it could be wide, sometimes it can be narrow. Really depends on your emotion and feelings, and the emphasizing the reaction between the audience and the artwork, and also as an icon of my masterpiece. So here comes to another pieces, which is shown in Taiwan, talking about the parallelism in different space. Let's think about, is there differences of our life in another different rooms? And here comes to other pieces. Of course, it requires different techniques, but this is not our main topics today. My series emphasizing the vibe and breath of one. The message emphasizing one's life in a day. The speed we have every day actually is damaging the speed of nature. Like the air pollution, water pollution, and whatever kind of pollution we have made every day. And under the situation of global warming, this is what we have been destroying to the nature. Putting the message back to my artwork, you could see that the stroke, the colors, the ink,
嘅一種嘅反狀態，佢會自己會響一個比較耐嘅時間去慢慢揮發。
is repel each other.
根狀嘅線條，咁呢個咪就係呼吸系列咯，就係我哋人類嘅呼吸，其實令到同樣顏色。
And you could see the lines appears like a nerve of ones being repelled from each other. And that is what I want to say in the Fight and Breath series. I don't want to talk about the 3000s culture of China, of Chinese culture, of philosophy, what a kind of cliche. I want to talk about simple things as close as our life, which has more meanings. That's why I create this kind of painting and put it into the collection of my 70 exhibition and the message that I want to talk about. You could consider it as either a luck or unfortunate. Oh, by the way, Desmond, are you born under the year of dragon? You know what? The people, especially parents, always emphasizing they would like to have a dragon son, which they thought could be smarter than the others. But actually, it is a kind of unfortunate to born in the year of dragon, which because usually there are many competitions in life and you will have more competitors to chase for what you want to have. So lastly, comes to a short video around 2 minutes about my artwork. Please enjoy. Just 2 minutes.
聽到係咪啦？其實一句講埋啦。呢套咧就係我喺廣東美術館要展出嘅，就係將整個
Actually, this video I shown in the Western Kowloon District Exhibition Center, which inside the artwork not only mountains and river, but also clouds there. Talking about different dynasty in the past history of China, sometimes smoke and cloud could be a vibe and flow between different realms. Thank you very much for your participation today. And this comes to the end of my sharing. Thank you, Raymond, for the comprehensive sharing of his personal experience of the creations. Anyone would have any questions? So this is a very valuable chance for all of you to take a look of this amazing work and the amazing story. Any questions you would like to ask Raymond? So today I have shared more than just the topic. Just to let all of you know how to find things in between art and architecture and how to place it within the community to gain the support of the public. Of course, artists, some of the artists or people may think that he may not gain respect from the others and it is not an easy task to work on. But I would like to let all of you to know more about how to be successful in chasing your dreams.
But looking at these great artworks, it must excite you with some inspiration or some ideas or some thoughts, right? Yeah. You want to share?
I don't have any question, but I'm an architect as well. I'm trained as an architect, and I have to say I'm very impressed how your design as an architect and your artistic side, like your artwork as your body of work as an artist, they really work together strongly. So you can really see that there is a line that goes from the artwork and architecture, which is especially for our student from Studio 3, it's a very good inspiration because that's what we are trying to let them do for this assignment. So just want to really thank you for sharing all of this.
Just raised by Dr. Desmond. I just knew, when we started that, this is the class which is to really demonstrate how design and art can be mingled and to be demonstrated as something as a career as well as an industry for Hong Kong. And I think the application of both is very important, especially where the government really wanted to invest much more. But in one day, I think we have to do ourselves. We have to do something that demonstrate how this works. If it works, just like the West Kowloon Cultural District. I just mentioned that I was a member. I'm still a member of them. But dated back to like 13 years ago, I was so against it. I spoke to the very top officials in Hong Kong. I say, well, Hong Kong will not have another Guggenheim Museum like in Bilbao because we don't have that kind of a culture. But of course, he doesn't listen to me. I think now he's very right. Finally, I found that there is such a change in culture. People really queue up to go for Art Basel, go for Art Central, and a lot of other events that happens along the West Kowloon Cultural District, along the waterfront. I think this is a great success. I had my exhibition there, and I spent 21 days. Within the 3 weeks, I always went out to see, wow, I see a lot of people, you know, really enjoy the space. I think Hong Kong people deserve to have a bigger space. The bigger space is not just a space itself, but I think it's the cultural space that really educate a lot of people, whereby we never thought about that. We're always talking about Hong Kong is a financial center, but now Hong Kong is a financial and a cultural center. That is the answer. Thank you.
Maybe just a simple question for you. The last video that you showed, the animation in the last video, how did you present it? Or have you presented it in an exhibition, or could you talk a little bit more about the
very good
purpose
point.
of that?
This is still the first time to be publicly presented. Never have that been shown at all. Not in West Kowloon Cultural District, where I had my show at the pavilion. This one is going to be shown at the Guangdong Museum of Art in May, and that will be animation. Now, of course, there is some background behind it. The original piece is actually now permanently collected by the Palace Museum in Hong Kong. So for any museums, this is I'm talking about in the one at the Guangzhou. They say, well, either you have it original, but don't show me something that is a replica. Then what I'm going to do is do animation, and that is okay.
Thank you.
咁啊，聽到呢個即係我哋今次嘅 lecture 裏面咧，有啲係
So until now,
公開嘅，仲未公開嘅一啲嘅
in
作品咧，其實非常之榮幸我哋
our lectures,
俾大家睇到。
actually,
咁啊，
there are some of the masterpieces still haven't been shown to the public, but every one of us today have a chance to take a look here in these public lectures. And we can looking forward to the time in May. We will have another exhibition in the Quantum Province later on.
但係你今日頭先我哋聽到
So today,
一路差唔多2個鐘頭嘅演講，亦都冇
we have
即係可以睇到咧，其實
your sharing, which lasts almost 2 hours, about your past experience, and every one of us could feel your passion towards your professions, which is also one of the support for you to gain your achievement.
係係啊，所以咧就
So
感受到咧，即係你喺呢個
we could see that
過程裏面咧，即係呢啲咁
during your 7 decades in the past, the ups and downs, the stories,
我諗講出嚟有好多嘢咧，其實唔係一般人都知道啊，真係不
it is not an easy task,
除咗你自己
and
講翻呢個古仔
not
嘅
even
話咧，你都唔明白，即係將來
because of a chance
原來喺香港發生過
to experience,
有趣嘅呢啲咁嘅創
no matter, not even mentioning the
係基於佢嘅個人呢種嘅創意同埋
stories for Hong Kong.
有呢種嘅作品
But
咁佢今日成個演繹咧，
really thanks to Raymond for his passion to
點樣介入
brings all
空間點樣
these
介入翻藝術
comes true.
個嘅即係
Talking about how to bring the vibe into the art
即係呢種咁嘅自由
and combine 2 of them together,
裝置可以話
and you could feel his passionate within his work.
嗰啲水墨創
And also about the last part for showing your ink painting, they were really, really amazing. I do really hope that we could have another chance next time to show your artwork and experience again. And also see if you could open an opportunity to us to organize an ink painting lectures with our students. I personally want to learn something from you as well. So next time, we hope we could have another occasion to invite Raymond again, or with him organize other lectures with us. And here we have prepared a gift to you. Actually, it's art collections of our faculty. And it has talked about our teaching philosophy, which is published in Europe. At the moment, it haven't published in Hong Kong yet, but this is a gift for you. Actually, I forgot to mention one thing. Last year, I have published a collection talking about my architect work with 700,000 words. And also, I would like to take this as a collection to talk about my past 7 decades.